Okay, this is a Raw review for Monday, November 19th, 2012, live from somewhere. Long show, not gonna lie. I've come on here, said the past 2 weeks, ever since the England show, Raw's been okay, to me at least. But this show really just flushed everything down the toilet. Not saying it was a bad show, but it was a very long show. And I thought a lot of stuff in here was completely to fill towards the towards the main event. But Ryback came out, first one to just start the show off with a bang. He cuts an angry promo saying he wants Punk. Vicky comes out and says, no. And then Tensai comes out. Now Tensai's getting some TV time. Haven't noticed he's been on Raw, pay-per-view, and then a Raw again. So that's three straight times. Um, you know, Quite possibly it could be the fact that WWE has nobody else right now. So they might as well start using the guys they don't use. But it was just a simple squash. Ryback actually picked up Tensai, unlike the last time they faced off, which led to supposed sandbagging by Tensai. But it was whatever. So Ryback, that's done. Barrett versus Kofi Kingston, non-title match. I always choke while I'm doing video. I don't know why. Match was fairly decent. They went a good amount of time, considering it was a 3-hour show. I spilled my water all over my desk. Okay. Barrett won with the ball hammer. They changed the name of the finisher again. It was called the souvenir elbow, and now it's called the ball hammer or something. Whatever. It's obviously, since Miz is now a babyface, Kofi Kingston has no one to work with, and putting Barrett in the title picture, it works for him. He's might as well build up your lower card guys to potential mid card status, since that's what they're there for. Barrett's so much better. He should be contending for those kind of titles. I can see him as champion in the very near future. I can see him actually taking the belt off Kofi and having a run going into WrestleMania, to be quite honest. Then we had Kaitlyn vs Aksana, just your typical Divas match. Did she? Yeah, and I think she showed her strength. She did the whole pin up and then gorilla press into the knees, which is quite impressive. How many women have you really seen do that? Three come to mind for me. You got Chyna, Beth Phoenix, and now Kaitlyn. And speaking WWE wise, I'm sure Medusa, and you just a lot of women, jacked up women can do that, and it's good to see. And I can see Kaitlyn has that look, like the body of a bad wrestler, like a bad guy wrestler, but she has like the look of just a baby face. It's kind of weird, you don't see women like who are good looking, very good looking, but have a body of a bodybuilder. Like Beth Phoenix had that bad wrestler, bad guy look, but she's hot. And Kaitlyn's just hot. She does not have that look. But I rambled on too much about that. And then Brodus Clay versus Antonio Cesaro. Highlight for me was the spinning uppercut off the middle rope. He did that all the time, and I think this is the first time we've seen him do it on Raw or in the WWE. I could be mistaken. And then the neutralizer. Always impressive to see Brodus Clay, a mammoth of a man, lifted, just dead weight by Antonio Cesaro. And then we had John Cena's Make-A-Wish Foundation, the 300 wish granted, and they showed the story of a woman who was number 2, and she said her son was just so overwhelmed, like so happy, and he died, and he kept on talking about Cena and how Cena changed his life just before he died, unfortunately. But very well done. Very nice video package, makes Cena look like a great guy, makes the company look great. And yeah, very well done for Cena, and just gotta have mad respect for him doing that. And then as soon as that happened, you had Vicky Guerrero come out with 2 eyewitnesses saying she has proof. They have proof. They were witnessing AJ and Cena committing the scandalous activity. They had the waitress come out, and she was nervous. You can tell she was skipping over her words, or shaking a bit. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did. Saying that they asked for a private, section of the restaurant, and then the guy who ran the parking lot said that they were in the parking lot for an hour and he had pictures. So as soon as we were going to get the pictures, I think a lot of people were looking forward to it. AJ comes out. Oh no, sorry. Cena came out after. This is while AJ was in the ring, And he said, "Do you want something to talk about? Here's something to talk about." He kisses AJ, and then AJ just throws him back and pretty much does what she did with Daniel Bryan and Punk, just down tonsil hockey, as they call it, and I think King called it. Then, oh yeah, and then the ankle thing. Ziggler came out, attacked Cena, and then Cena chased him out, and you saw him limping to the back, and I knew it wasn't part of the whole gig. And when they showed the replay, you saw that he rolled his knee, and it looked bad. I'm sure it's just like, it happens to me, like it happened to me before. Just, it takes about, you can't walk, that's the thing, it's really hard to walk. And after like a week, it'll be like swollen and bruised, but like you'll be better in a couple weeks. And it's not like, I'm sure he'll work either way. And he's a week, I wouldn't say he has a week off, but he wouldn't, I wouldn't put anything by him. I'm sure he'll just tape it up and wrestle next week. But it's nothing too serious. Like, I'm sure he'll be in pain, but no more, like, no surgery is needed for that. Anyways, then we had Randy Orton versus Alberto Del Rio, 2 out of 3 falls. Fairly good match. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match, but then again, how many times have we seen these guys wrestle? It's not a bad match. It was not the greatest match, but it was good, and then that was it. David Otunga versus The Miz. Double axe handle by The Miz. I thought it was funny. Otunga looked fairly good in this. He got the most offense I've seen in a long time. I think he came out the star in this match, and I think the commentators really put him over. On Twitter, people were tweeting about it. Wrestlers, not just fans, were tweeting about how good Otunga looks. So I think in their quest to put Miz over as a babyface, they are putting Otunga over as a good worker. So who would have thought? And then Sheamus versus Damian Sandow. Sheamus cut a long promo, just pretty much could have been cut in 30 seconds, telling Big Show to come out, but he rambled on about why he's happy, why this, why that. Big Show came out full of rage, and then Sandow came out. They had their match. It was long, it was slow, it was boring, and this is the part where I'm like, man, the show's too long, and this was around the 10:15 mark. Yeah, just very, very long. And then they showed a backstage thing with Vicky, AJ, and AJ went into the men's locker room, and Ziggler cut the best promo I've seen and from him at least in a long time. Just straight face, like indoor voice, and just so serious. And AJ just looked like heartbroken when he said she's like soft, she's weak, she's just trash. And then Cena interfered, or not interfered, but he tried getting AJ off of Ziggler, and then Ziggler attacked Cena, and they went through the bathroom stall, and pretty much prolonging Cena's injury, making it worse than it quite possibly is. And one of the best segments of the show, Rey and Sin Cara versus Rey and Sin Cara versus Team Hell No, with the Primetime Players on commentary. Now, the commentary was what made this awesome. I thought these two would have a good match, and they did. It was nothing wrong with this match. But the commentary was just so great in this match. Titus O'Neil, I think, had the chance, and he knew he had the chance, and he just grabbed that brass ring. And I think a lot of people are going to see him and the Primetime Players in a different light, because I know I am. And it's just so entertaining. These guys were cracking jokes left and right. Cole and King could barely keep their composure just because Titus O'Neil was cutting so much like funny jokes on them. It was just great. And one of the funnier things was from Darren Young, surprisingly, who didn't say much, but he said he was combing his hair, and then King's like, "What are you doing?" And then he's like, "Hey, man, if your hair is nappy, no one's happy." I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I thought it was funny. And the Primetime Players interfered, causing a DQ, and then the Faces kind of got their comeback, and a 619 to the Primetime Players. And yeah, that was the end. Then we had the CM Punk celebration. Heyman started off saying a shoot pretty much on the last week's thing, and saying that fans want the Attitude Era back, but when they gave a little ounce of attitude, people got all outraged, and people chant ECW, but when he gave a little ounce of what ECW really was, people got mad. And saying, you know, that was pretty much the whole context of the shoot, if you want to call it that. I'm going to call it that. But, you know, this is a separate video, but I think it was a little bit out of, I don't know, I wouldn't compare the Attitude Era to what that was, because I think it's two different things. Because, you know, sure, you had the Katie Vick thing, and sure, you had other things, but in a way it ties in, but another way it doesn't. I'll talk about that in a separate video. But then CM Punk came out. They showed a nice video package. I thought it was really cool. Showed special dates, number 1, 134, and then 2 something. But they showed a lot of clips of different events. Then Ryback came out, and then we had Rollins, Reigns, and Ambrose. What's his name? Oh, I had his name in my head. Something Reigns. God, I'm gonna look up real quick. See, that's how I know Dean Ambrose. I know Seth Rollins, but I don't know this Reigns fellow's name is Roman Reigns. He is the relative of Yokozuna, so he is part of the Samoan heritage. From the Observer, I heard this from there. He's only been in the developmental company for 2 years, which is considered very short, considering that Seth Rollins has been in there for just over 2 years, but he's been wrestling for a lot longer. But this guy just broke into business recently, and he's fairly fresh, much like Batista. They kind of took him in there, and then they took him right out and put him on the main card. And see what he does. You know, he's going to be obviously the powerhouse of the two, and Rollins is being the skinny tall guy, or Ambrose being the small kind of seems like a technical guy. And you got your powerhouse, so his little 3 there, and they powerbombed Ryback through a table, pretty much leading to a tables match, I would imagine, at next month's pay-per-view. So you got your tables match with Big Show and Sheamus. You got your chairs match with Big Show and Sheamus. Tables match with Ryback and CM Punk, and then your ladder match, I would imagine Cena is going to tell Ziggler to put his Money in the Bank on the line. Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen for the ladder match. I really do. I can't really think of anything else unless they put the tag titles on the line with Reigns and Cara versus Team Hell No versus Primetime Players maybe. I can see that also, but that's highly doubtful. I would go for the Ziggler and Cena. Why am I messing this up? Anyways, that's all, and I'll see. Actually, what do you guys think the ladder match will be? That's a little good topic to get going. What do you guys think the ladder match will be for next month's pay-per-view?